Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining our morning hearing session. We'll start with Mangalacharna prayers. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Datate Shrupadankitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I will share my screen.
Was surrounded by thousands of followers, all the way from Puri to the northern part of Bengal. That's a big distance. Thousands. And when they came to the capital, Ramakeli, the Nawab was a little anxious. What's this mendicant and his thousands of followers? Is it a source of trouble? And so he asked him, one of his ministers. We mentioned this yesterday. The minister downplayed it. He's just a mendicant. Don't worry. He's on his way to the holy places. Don't worry. He won't be here long. Don't worry. So that helped. Then he called his personal secretary, who was Rupa Goswami, personal secretary to the king. And he had given him a name to match his service as personal secretary, Dabir Kas. And he wanted to know, who's this Hindu mendicant with all these followers? And his reply, found in Chaitanya Charitamrita: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gave you this kingdom and whom you accept as a prophet, has taken birth in your country due to your good fortune. This prophet always desires your good fortune. By his grace, all your business is successful. By his blessings, you'll attain victory everywhere. So that helped. And so he became a little more relaxed. But Rupa and Sanatan didn't trust him, rightly so, because he was very cruel. And so they met him at night. This is a painting of their meeting. And they first approached, but the two brothers approached Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. They were more easy to locate. They brought these two brothers directly to Lord Chaitanya. Of course, this is just an artist rendering because it was at night, not during some daytime scene. And they offered their prayers to him. And we'll hear those prayers. We heard their prayers yesterday. Very, very beautiful. You'll hear the expression of their humility in this other book we've been mentioning, Bhakti Ratnakar. The author says, through Haridas Thakur, the Lord taught forbearance. Through Rupa and Sanatan, he taught humility. So we spent some time discussing the humility of Sanatan. And here's what they both said after paying their obeisances and clutching his feet with their hands. Sir, we belong to the lowest class of men, and our associates and employment are also of the lowest type. Therefore, we cannot introduce ourselves to you. We feel very much ashamed standing here before you. Dear Lord, let us inform you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Even if we wanted to mention our sinful activities, we would immediately become ashamed. And what to speak of giving them up? Dear Lord, you have incarnated to deliver the fallen souls. You should consider in this world there is none so fallen as us. We too are millions and millions of times inferior to Jagai and Madhai. We are more degraded, fallen, and sinful than they. Actually, we belong to the caste of meat-eaters because we are servants of meat-eaters. Indeed, our activities are exactly like those of the meat-eaters because we always associate with such people. We are inimical to the cows and the brahmanas. Due to our abominable activities, we are bound by the neck and hands and have been thrown into a ditch filled with abominable stool-like objects of material sense gratification, sense enjoyment. Quite an introduction. It's called humility. And Lord Chaitanya's reply, I really had no need to come to Bengal, but I came anyway, just to see the two of you. No one knows my purpose, and so people ask me why I have come to this village of Ramakeli. I'm very glad that you have come to see me. Now you can go home. Do not fear anything. You have been my servants. Madhya Lila, chapter 19. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Srila Rupa Goswami the ultimate limit of the truth about Lord Krishna, the truth about devotional service, and the truth about transcendental mellows culminating in conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. Finally, he told Rupa Goswami about the ultimate conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Rupa Goswami all the conclusions he heard from Ramananda Roy and duly empowered him so that he could understand them. By entering, these are all verses, not yet purport. By entering the heart of Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered him to ascertain properly the conclusions of all truths. He made him an experienced devotee whose decisions correctly agreed with the verdicts of the disciplic succession. Thus, Sri Rupa Goswami was personally empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we've heard it now 3 times. We're going to hear it some more times. He was highly charged personality. Indeed, Srila Rupa Goswami, whose dear friend was Swarup Damodar, we heard this phrase already, right? From Kavi Karnapur, whose dear friend was Swarup Damodar, was the exact replica of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was very, very dear to the Lord, and so forth. So, powerful recipient of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, his teachings, his realization, his ability to express it and to write it. While they were in Prayag, that's Rupa and his brother Anupam and Lord Chaitanya, at the same time, Srila Vallabhacharya happened to be there simultaneously. And he invited Lord Chaitanya to come with him to have lunch at his home. Lord Chaitanya came. Accompanying with him was Rupa and Anupam. And he wanted them to sit with everybody, Vallabhacharya, but they wouldn't. They sat at a distance. And they said, humility, we're lowly untouchables. You should not contaminate yourself by touching us. Then they sat down at a certain distance. And the Lord Chaitanya made a comment. They think of themselves in this way, so let them be. he didn't say that, yes, it's a fact they're lowly and untouchable. He just supported their mood because their mood was very, very strong in the humility department. And after those 10 days, Lord Chaitanya wanted to continue his journey back to Puri. So he got in a boat ready to leave. And look at Rupa Goswami. He's smashing his head with his hand. He wants to go with Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya told him, no, your duty is to carry out my order. Later you can go from Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri through Bengal. There you will meet me again. So his instruction was, I've taught you, go to Vrindavan and begin your writing. He instructed him to write Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu according to the teachings he had given. And so he fainted, seeing Lord Chaitanya depart. And he then did go to Vrindavan for a whole month. And then that's all he could take. And then he started to travel overland through Bengal on his way to Jagannath Puri. His brother Anupam was with him, and he died. We're going to hear tomorrow how that struck his son, Jiva Goswami, because Jiva Goswami is quite young when this happened. And then he eventually made his way to Jagannath Puri. So when he reached, on his way to Jagannath Puri, in his mind he was composing a drama. I mean, composers sometimes do that. Writers, I guess, sometimes do that. He was doing that. The flow of what the drama would be. And in the course of his travel, he passed through a place in Orissa known as Satyabhamapur. Have you heard of that place? Satyabhamapur. We visited there. It's a nice place. Very simple place. There's kind of like a path. At that time, now it's a road, but then just like a path where pilgrims that were traveling from north to south, from Calcutta to Puri, would travel. It was on that path. And Satyabhamapur is just off that path a little bit. And so he spent the night at that place. And in the evening, when he was resting, he had a dream. And in his dream, Satyabhama appeared and instructed him, don't write one drama, write two. One drama should be Krishna in Vrindavan, and the other is Krishna after he leaves Vrindavan. So he took it as an instruction. And so he began composing two dramas, Krishna in Vrindavan and Krishna after he departs Vrindavan. And he didn't say anything to anybody, but when he reached Puri, he, being very humble, he, like Haridas, wouldn't enter the temple, so he stayed with Haridas, some distance from the temple. And Lord Chaitanya would visit both of them every day and bring prasad of Lord Jagannath to them every day. And one day, Lord Chaitanya instructed Rupa. He said, well, I understand you're writing a drama. It should be two dramas. Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, Krishna's pastimes out of Vrindavan. So Rupa Goswami took it as not just confirmation, but Lord Chaitanya is omniscient. And so he composed these two. There's Lalita Madhava, is Krishna's departing Vrindavan, and it's very amazing. And Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan is Vidagdha Madhava. After some time, Lord Chaitanya visiting with Rupa and Haridas said, I would like Ramananda Roy and some of the other senior Vaishnavas to hear verses from your dramas. Tomorrow will come. So sure enough, he came. And when he came, it was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Sarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, and, Jagatananda, and a whole group of very, very elevated Vaishnavas. So they all sat down, and Rupa Goswami sat at a distance. And Ramananda Roy said, come sit with us. We want to hear this drama from you. And His same message. I'm fallen, I'm untouchable, I can't come near you. I'm unfit to be near you. They're honoring his writing, but he's feeling this profound humility. It's just part of his personality, Rupa Goswami. And as they were hearing the verses, Ramananda Roy, who is highly proficient, highly knowledgeable in drama and the science of it, and the way by which drama stimulates transcendental emotion, he was astounded. And one of those celebrated verses, it's from Vidagdha Madhava. Remember, Vidagdha Madhava is Krishna in Vrindavan. So there's some introductory verses he wanted to hear. There's certain nomenclature for the introductory verses. So he recited this verse about the holy name. One of my favorite verses. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. Of course, it was in Sanskrit. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. This is a meditation on mantra meditation. I'm just sharing something with you. It's something that I regularly, not always, but there was a period of time it was every day. A significant part of my japa was being guided by this meditation. It's 4 parts: the glories of the name, the speaking part of the body that is used to make the sound, the receiving part of the body that is to hear the sound, and then the sound goes to the heart. So you've heard this, you chant from your heart. What does that mean? This tells you what it means. And when you chant from the heart, it enters into the courtyard of the heart. The distracted mind stops being distracted. The mind becomes conquered or stunned. Sometimes it's translated. And when the mind is stunned, the senses become inert. And you're where you want to be when you're chanting. It's a nice, in a poem or in a one stanza, it's a meditation on mantra meditation. It's very powerful. And at the end, there's this really nice section where Ramananda Roy was appreciating what he just heard and was indicating to him, surely you have empowered him, because who could write like this unless he was empowered? Lord Chaitanya confirmed, yes, I've empowered him. I gave him all of my potency and all my wisdom to realize everything and to write it to everyone. And that he would be able to spread it all over. That was his intention. And his intention means its effect. And Rupa Goswami served that function while continuing in his mood of humility. He didn't become proud or anything. He's always fixed in this transcendental state. It's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita for the whole duration that he was there. Rupa was there. Lord Chaitanya brought Mahaprasad every day, or had it sent by Govinda to he and Haridas. When Haridas heard this exchange about, the Lita Madhava and Vidagdha Madhava, and everybody left, he just stood by Rupa's side and said, the mercy that you have received from Lord Chaitanya is just astounding. And Rupa Goswami's response was very simple. He said, I have no qualification at all. I'm a very fallen person. But if there's anything that I've been able to do, it's because Lord Chaitanya gave me the ability and the capacity to do. I'm just like a doll. He's just moving me. he saw himself that way as the instrument of Lord Chaitanya's will. There's an incident that is mentioned 3 times in the course of Chaitanya Charitamrita. One is in the very first chapter of Madhya Lila. The text reads, in ecstasy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a verse. When dancing in front of Lord Jagannath, almost no one could understand the meaning of that verse. So here's the verse. Somebody asked, what's the verse? That very personality who stole away my heart during my youth, this is Radha to Krishna, or about Krishna, is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights in the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva under the Batasi tree. That is my desire. Now it says author unknown. This was a kind of like a love song that people didn't quite understand what Lord Chaitanya was saying or doing, but Rupa Goswami understood what he was doing. Notice the Padyavali text number is 386.
Hare Krishna. Any comments or any questions from anyone? Yes, Sharbri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It's a very beautiful lecture. It's, so smooth and so beautiful that Lord comes, and then those who are His pure devotees, they understand also it's Lord, and then Lord empowers them, and they start writing, and then they are so humble at the same time. It's very nice. And one question I had, Prabhu, Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, were they by religion Hindu or Muslim? Because their names, Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik, they more sound like Muslim names. So I just had that one question. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
They were in Hindus, Mataji. I think more into Brahminical, but later they were serving Nawab. So as a ministers, that's where those 2 names, the Muslim names, whatever we are hearing.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Sonali Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
yeah. At the starting of the lecture, so Maharaj mentioned Sri Rupa Goswami was sitting little away from the Lord. So, then Maharaj explained that is his mood to not to contaminate. So, uh, what I understood is there can be different types of mood, like Lord Hanumana, Lord Shiva, or Sri Rupa Goswami. But the common thing should be the service. This is what I understood.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, a very, very nice class, as Arvili Mataji also mentioned. So, just one or two things, Prabhu. So, Maharaj today opened up his heart in terms of the meditationers. So, how he meditated on that particular verse about the holy name, what the holy name is, the medium which is used to chant, and the medium which is used to receive the holy name, and the heart. So that was a nice thing. Even if Shamkun Prabhu can add little, if he's heard some more about the same specific topic, it will be nice. Prabhu, that is one. And the other thing is the whole lecture of humility. the humility aspect of the Goswamis have been brought out. So that's a nice meditation point and practicing point for us, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Kumarika Mataji, is there anything from you?
Not very qualified to answer Vivek Prabhu's question. That's why he also directed the question to Shamkun Prabhu. It is Maharaj very
No,
rarely.
no, no. No, Mataji, nothing like that. Any devotees who have heard more about specifically this point which Maharaj spoke about today. Yeah, it's to everybody, Mataji. Nothing,
No,
whoever
Prabhu.
has heard. Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, Hare
I
Krishna.
am really not qualified. I said what I can understand is that, see, there is that poetry of Sri Rupa Goswami that starts with Tande Tundavali in that Padyavali section. So when the holy name enters the through the ears, holes of the ears, and it makes all the senses inert, and then it dances in the courtyard of the heart. That is how that song goes. So, and Maharaj, he usually doesn't talk about himself, but then yes, he revealed a little bit of his um, the way he chants. That he said that I was concentrating, that my mouth was making I was chanting through one of my senses and hearing, and then the heart. And it went into the heart like that, like what Rupa Goswami had actually explained in that beautiful verse, that it makes all the senses inert, and including the mind, and it dances in the courtyard of the heart. So, if when he chants, it enters his heart. He is chanting from the heart. That is what it is. Not it is somewhat split in my sort of chanting. My mouth is making the sound, and sometimes I hear, sometimes I don't hear. My mind is elsewhere. Like that, with great difficulty, I have to bring it back. But from the heart, my heart is not moved most of the times. But for him, it works the same way that Rupa Goswami has explained. That is what I understand little bit from.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Any comments or questions from anyone? Harisham Prabhu, do you have anything to share?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Nothing much. Just my inspiration from hearing today's lecture is like, um, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we heard today that how Rupa Goswami is a manifestation of or embodiment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, and he empowered him to express that ecstatic love in the form of transcendental literatures, right? Like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava, all those things. And in a way, like we also heard um, that Rupa Goswami himself appeared before Srila Prabhupada and he said, okay, and he empowered, Rupa Goswami empowered Srila Prabhupada to translate those writings which are in Sanskrit and into the language which is like a common language which is used today, English, so that we can understand it. So my inspiration for me is like when I read Srila Prabhupada's books, they are nothing but they are actually ecstatic symptoms of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, expressed through Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada. So I need to see those transcendental purports and translation in that light. Okay, these are nothing but ecstasy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I wish to meditate on this and then see have better appreciation when I read and hear Prabhupada's purports and his translation. That's my inspiration from Guru. Or at least I would try to take inspiration.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. Shamkunda Prabhu is on call. Sorry, Ashok Prabhu. Yes, you were saying
Before that, I
something.
have a question, Prabhu, actually. So, here Maharaj was mentioning that while chanting, we have to meditate upon that verse, or how? Maybe I'm not able to, like, otherwise, generally we should concentrate on mantra, right? So maybe how my understanding should be, I'm thinking through this.
Yes, Prabhu, that is what it is. Like before starting, there are different types. Okay, for people very new, can take start with offering prayers before we chant, and have some verse as a model for us to meditate upon before we get into chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. But for very, very advanced devotees, their mind is so absorbed, it is non-different. Okay, while chanting the mantra and being absorbed in this thought of how this holy name is acting, it is very natural. Okay, it is not something, okay, I'm thinking about this and then I'm chanting the mantra, thereby not concentrating on the holy name. So it happens simultaneously and it happens very naturally for them. For us, okay, yes, the practice is like we concentrate on the mantra, and before that, to take inspiration from or derive energy from, like we can have one mantra as we can offer prayers and we chant those mantras, and that meditative mode we chant the holy name. But for very advanced devotees, there's no difference here. Chanting the holy name at the same time, the mantra being permeating their existence goes simultaneously.
Yeah, okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
This is my understanding.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Maybe Yudhu Kishore Prabhu or someone can elaborate further this.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, not elaborate, but just one more point, what Harisham Prabhu said, that when we start chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and the realization that happens on a very gradual level, and it happens spontaneously. We as a practitioner on sadhana level, Srila Prabhupada has advised us, instructed us, guided us that one should focus on the holy name, Nama. And as we progress on this path of spiritual journey, the Nam realization will actually manifest into Rupa, Guna, and Lila. So, at the beginning stage, Srila Prabhupada, as we would have heard many times, Maharaj mentioning, Srila Prabhupada mentioning that we have to utter the name. So, the tongue is using in the chanting the name of the Lord Hari, and the ear is being used in hearing that. So, that's all we are advised to do that. And as Harisham Prabhu said, that in the beginning, we may have some different prayers just to prepare ourselves, our heart, or our heart, because the mood. Chanting the name of the Lord Hari is a prayer, and to get into that mood, one may have different realizations or different inspiration, not realization, inspiration, so that we prepare ourselves to chant the name of Lord Hari. And as a devotee, spontaneous, the one of the characteristics of the sadhana is that the impetus comes from the instruction from the spiritual master, or the instruction comes from the scripture. So as we are practicing on Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, as Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion summary study of Srila Prabhupada, so it shows that our impetus is not natural, not spontaneous. And that is why we need guidance, we need instructions, and as we practice, we may progress from Vaidhi sadhana bhakti to Raganuga sadhana bhakti, or maybe Bhava bhakti and Prema bhakti. It's very, very elaborate topic. And in fact, that gives us a appreciation for Rupa Goswami. As we study Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu, he heard for 10 days. And what he heard from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has elaborated such a detail about bhakti. As we start going to the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti in the first 14 chapter, we can able to correlate because it's very practical to all of us. But starting from 15th chapter of Nectar of Devotion, which is a Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, and initially Rupa Goswami describes about Ragatmika Bhakti, and the Ragatmika Bhakti are nothing but Rupa Goswami himself and Sanatan Goswami, what we heard yesterday, before yesterday. And then after that, Bhav Bhakti and Prem Bhakti, and this is the 19th chapter, and we are supposed to not go beyond that. And beyond that, I mean, not supposed to go in sense, because we will not be able to understand at this time as a part of the Bhakti Shastri. We are just studying until time, so we can understand how deep is this book that Rupa Goswami has written. And multiple occasions it has been mentioned in Madhya Lila 19th chapter, Rupa Shiksha, where Rupa Goswami was specially empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one incident comes when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to Rupa Goswami's kutir or his place. There is one special verse which he has written on the roof of his thing, which was known only to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw that, then he asked us, I think it was Swarup, Swarup Damodar, and he asked, how is it that he is able to know the verse which only I know? And then Swarup Damodar says that, oh my Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that it is only your mercy that can actually empower Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami is a very elevated personality, and despite that, he's actually, as Sonali Mataji was saying, that he still chose to stay away from that. And as one practices and advance and spiritual things, the humility that actually manifests is what Rupa Goswami has shown by his own example. Very elevated, very fortunate to hear about such a great personalities. Hare Krishna.
Thank you
And
so much, Prabhu.
thank
Yes,
you.
Ashok Prabhu.
So yeah, thank you for the nice past time. And yeah, generally why I got this question means sometimes I heard from some devotees like they meditate upon some slides of different temples or different deities of the temples. So whether it is the right approach or initially maybe I think as per current discussion I understood. So maybe initially we have to get inspiration to chant. So as we don't have like as we don't have right direct taste on the holy name. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gurkishore Prabhu, for nice examples and the pastimes of Rupa Goswami. Shamkund Prabhu, do you have anything to share?
Just one thing for an extension of what Harisham Prabhu told as an answer to Dheera Lalit Prabhu's question, which he asked 3 days ago, I think. Harisham Prabhu said that um, the commentaries of Srila Prabhupada, the purports, are like like his ecstasies, which he like to connect to. How Rupa Goswami is empowering him to see see the divine truth in the light of what he's observing in the modern world. And Dheeralit Prabhu had asked the question, is it not sufficient to just hear lectures? Why do we even need to read books as such? So one of the points here in reading is uh, how else will we get access to Prabhupada's commentaries, like or the books which are Prabhupada and even maybe other acharyas, that we get to know the happiness that they are feeling. Ecstasy is too big a word. We sometimes use too big words for small things. So I'm just keeping it to what is the sense of belongingness that Srila Prabhupada is feeling. If we access it by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, then we stay connected to the parampara. And so the counter question that would immediately come is, why not just hear from somebody? That's nice. It is a good thing. It's there's nothing wrong in it. It can be done. But the only thing that happens with the human mind is when we hear, it is not that everybody is having a consciousness that is very active. Many of many of them don't hear so carefully, and therefore, and also when the speaker speaks about a topic, typically they don't go line by line into what Prabhupada is saying. They or any acharya, whomever they're referring to, they pick and choose what they like. So out of, like, say for example, 10 sentences in a commentary or a purport, they pick and choose maybe one or two that appeals to them. So if we go in the route of just hearing but not reading, it is only the realizations and the proclivities of the speaker that we get access to. Prabhupada or any acharya who's writing is much more than that, and we don't get access to it. Uh, in other words, scripture can speak to us. Scripture can speak to us through others. Scripture can speak to us directly. And for a long time, it will happen that maybe scripture doesn't speak to us directly. Maybe most of us are at that stage. That may be possibly true. But the way Srila Prabhupada has written it and our other acharyas have written it, it will impact somebody at some point in time. So, yes, there is definitely a value for hearing, and one should hear it. But one can also try for this. These are like saying, I'm only going to eat dal, but I'm not going to eat rice. Isn't dal sufficient? Dal has carbohydrates, dal has protein, some fiber, some vitamin, something like that. Can I not just eat dal? Why should I eat dal and rice together? So this question is something like that. So that's one part about receiving something, uh, receiving the realizations of the acharyas and being motivated. That's one part of the answer, Nadir Prabhu. The other part of it is you, me, and most devotees here, Krishna willing, will continue to live for a few more years, and one day we are going to get old. As we get old or older, younger people are going to take away most of the things that we are going to do. And you are also conducting a program as such, let's say with the Marwadi group, Hindi program. Hopefully, more new people. I'm not saying that necessarily young people, but new people who are new to Krishna consciousness will come. And if you have to encourage them, several things have to happen. They also have to read scriptures, understand, and speak. And when they do that, what will you be doing, or what will I be doing? This is the dilemma of every person who grows old, and more so that of the leaders. You see in every, like you see in politics, you see in companies, people hold on to their position. Why? Is it because they want more money? Maybe some of them, but most of them hold on to their position because they don't know what else to do with their time. They don't feel the value and the kick that they get out of others making them feel valuable. So this is a problem which many people face. And how do you come out of it? It is only when one's own individual sadhana and one's individual liking is still present, even if there is nobody else in life. Most of us are married. One day, this way or that way, one of our spouse is no longer going to be there with us. What are we going to do then? One day we may be so old enough that we may not be able to walk. What are we going to do then? It is at that point in time that maybe you can say, I'm going to hear lectures. But then it becomes that I have heard the same point again and again. What do I do? It is for a rare person that he likes to hear the same point again and again. That's nice. But there is also a value in just reading what one's spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada wants to say, and oh, this is what it is. So that's the other aspect of it. Uh, in other words, we all are going to become obsolete. The society is going to come to such a state, nobody would need us, Prabhu. Our own children would also not need us after some point in time. So it is at that point in time that the books give a personal relationship with Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Third, little bit more mundane, is when one reads a book, the whatever the neurons or the synapses in the brain gets connected, and it helps a person to be active mentally. Otherwise, uh, the aging becomes much more faster, and therefore it is helpful to read books rather than just attend lectures and then zone out and sleep in and wake up in between. Lecture affords us that possibility of sleeping in between and waking up, even with our eyes open, or or pretending as if we are concentrating. But reading doesn't allow that. The moment our attention span stops, that's it. We may doze off, but we know, oh, I stopped here. I didn't move beyond this. And so we are challenging our brain. And when you challenge the brain this way, it becomes an exercise for us to challenge our mind when we chant japa. So these are a reading is an active engagement, and many times for many newcomers, hearing is a passive engagement. We are being entertained, and somebody is the entertainer. But in reading, we have to entertain our own selves in one sense. Of course, it's Krishna or the Supreme Lord who entertains us. It's the acharyas who entertain us. That is there. But the faculty of being active, the aspect of the mind being active comes all the more. And devotional service is done with an active consciousness. It is that active consciousness which is propelled by reading, and therefore it is important to read. Having said that, there are devotees at various stages in life who may not be able to read. That's okay. Somebody who's very old, I can understand all of that. Does it mean that God does not recognize a person who doesn't read? No. But I'm saying that why, when Krishna has given us a facility, why not use it? It's just like if we are given a hand, and if we don't use the palm or the hand, it just becomes numb after some time. So use the gifts that Krishna has given. That's it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Eklavesha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. May I add some additional points on this reading Srila Prabhupada books, if we have time.
Yes,
Yes,
please go.
Prabhu.
Yeah. So when we are celebrating 50th years of ISKCON, and we heard from His Holiness Rompa Swami Maharaj class in SNGM, and Maharaj was mentioning that he was actually quoting a research done in Western countries where if there is any organization, and if that organization, Maharaj was saying in a negative sense, that first he said negative and then he said positive as well. So that if we have to, if we do not want that organization to continue for a longer period of time in the context of celebrating ISKCON as 100 years, 1000 years, and he said that the research shows that you just, all you have to do is just stop reading the book of the founder Acharya. That's all we have to do. The organization will collapse on its own. And then Maharaj said that in the other positive note, that if we want to move our ISKCON to celebrate 50th years, 100 years, sorry, 50 is already done, 100 or 1000 years, all we have to do is continue to read Srila Prabhupada books. So this is such inspiring that if we have to take Srila Prabhupada's legacy more moment to the next generation, so reading books is a very, very important aspect of that thing. Second thing that we would have, when we now, very soon we'll be starting the book distribution marathon, and many times we hear a story, and one story is like that the person was about to suicide and he had got a book, and he just opened the book, Srila Prabhupada's purport, and um, the light went on, and then he became a devotee. Instead of committing suicide, he became a devotee. So how Krishna reciprocates through Srila Prabhupada books is a very amazing and very individual journey that one can actually experience only by reading Srila Prabhupada books. The third thing is that Srila Prabhupada books are not only his own personal realization, but is a summary study of the previous acharyas. And he has made in such a simple way that which we in this age of Kali can able to correlate very easily. Such a complex and difficult topic, Prabhupada gives a very wonderful analogy, it's very simple way, and which we can actually understand and correlate. And personally, I feel that reading Srila Prabhupada books gives so much of motivation and inspiration, and especially focusing on why one should practice Krishna consciousness. What is the object of one's life? What is the object of the human form of life? Like this, Prabhupada actually hammer again and again and again, and dull-headed person like me gives so much of motivation and inspiration just by reading Srila Prabhupada. And the last but not least is that when we read Srila Prabhupada purport, it is actually Srila Prabhupada is with us, is giving instruction directly to us. That happens spontaneously and magically, very, very mysteriously it happens. So reading Srila Prabhupada books is actually is a wonderful journey. If individually, one should actually cultivate the habit of reading Srila Prabhupada books. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Shamkund Prabhu.
Yes, I'd like to thank Yugala Kishore Prabhu for saying this. And one thing I really understood after hearing Yugala Kishore Prabhu is that I missed saying one part. Reading books and not making notes or not sharing that this is what I understood with another devotee is an incomplete reading. The reading is complete only when one writes notes and shares it with somebody. Like, this is a key thing I liked, or this is something I didn't like, or this is interesting, this is new information, etc. Only then the whole aspect of reading is complete. Because reading is meant to receive mercy. And I understand Dheeraj Prabhu is not in the call today, but I just addressed him because he hears it later. That's thank
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for nicely explaining the importance of reading. Okay, we will end up the call for today. Thank you, everyone. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare